191-463, resolution directing the administration director to develop and present a plan to the Common Council for implementing a pilot seed universal basic income program based on the Stockton model. And that's in Utah, right?
No, California.
California. Sorry about that. Stockton, California. Alderwoman Lewis is the sponsor.
Yes. Thank you. Good afternoon, colleagues. How are you?
Good afternoon. We're well. How are you?
I'm doing well. So this is just the resolution solidifying what happened in the budget process. So we had a very robust discussion about the universal basic income. So just for clarity, and for those who may not have heard about this, this is a pilot program that in Stockton, California, the mayor, Mayor Tubbs, introduced this. I don't want to say unique because it's not the only one, but it is unique in its own right. But a model to help lift families out of poverty, and so our model is structured based off of that model, but tweaked just a little bit because we are focusing on low-income families. However, coming from a working-class poor family, I understand that even in two households, some days just are a struggle more than others. And so we are including the working class in this pilot program. So we will be starting with 50 families where we will walk with them, allow them to have a personal coach, financial coach, as well as whatever their needs are. So they will have a coach that will be walking with them through the process so that we can help lift them out of poverty and make sure that they are self-sufficient and self-sustaining and just, being able to have a good life where you don't have to have so many stressors on you.
Right.
So there are multiple facets of positive outcomes with this. So it's not only just, increasing families' income bracket. However, in addition to that, there's also health disparities that come with being stressed and living paycheck to paycheck. So being able to do that, we can tackle that issue as well as a myriad of other issues. So I'm just proud that we as a council are progressive enough to see the need of thinking outside of the box. And we've been just following this trend over the last 4 years. So we are going to be moving this forward. So you'll see more of this over the next couple of months. So I'm really excited. We are going to be raising the money, private dollars, to ensure that the families receive their monthly stipend of $500. So I'm really excited about this, and I know that it's proven to work. The results from the Stockton model has already come out late last year, their initial results, and so I know that we can not only meet but exceed those expectations. And so I'm just excited to see this come to fruition.
All right. Well, thank you for your leadership on this. It was a big discussion during the budget.
Yes, it was.
It is also sponsored by Alderman Kovac and Alderwoman Cox.
Yes. So I want to thank my co-sponsors tremendously for believing in the model and jumping on right away.
Sure.
So thank you, Alderwoman.
All right.
I do
want to add further?
I do want to give thanks to Alderwoman Lewis for coming to the table with this initiative, with poverty levels, what they are in this city. There have to be innovative, creative ideas that we bring to the table to attempt to shatter those statistical charts that we continue to look at with the poverty levels. And I think, while there are some who are critical of models such as this, we know that whatever models we've been using have gotten us where we are. So that I'm certain that the pilot program that will be developed is one that, for very little investment, we have the opportunity for tremendous gain.
Yep.
And it is worth the challenge to at least try to see if it has the desired impact so that we can help change the lives of many of the people that we represent.
Yes.
I like this idea, particularly the coach part. I don't remember us discussing that. I didn't know you get a coach with
Absolutely.
With the funding.
Yes.
All right. Director Robinson, did you want to add? It's a rare occasion, but you might as well say hello. How are you?
Good.
All right.
Hi, Sharon Robinson, Director of the Department of Administration. And first, I want to applaud the sponsors of this measure, because I agree that I think it's a good idea to test innovative solutions like this that will help to boost the financial and economic capability of families. So I'm just eager to work on this plan. And I was just thinking, just based on experience, like with job training and other programs, I clearly know that there's a need. I can even think of job training programs where people from the Fatherhood Initiative or elsewhere actually dropped out to take a job at like Whole Foods or somewhere else just because the stipends for job training or other programs just weren't sufficient. And even though those programs really could have put them on a trajectory to, more to boost their employability and skills like that. So I just look forward to working with the Common Council in terms of coming up with the plan and implementing something that really will have a impact for residents who need this type of help.
Excellent. Thank you for your leadership. Hey, any idea on where the coaches will be derived from?
We're still hashing out. We've got a couple of ideas. I don't want to announce them.
Are you going to RFP or are you going to reach out to some people?
So we're reaching out to those who have a proven model. We've got a couple people already in mind, but we are going to expand on that and announce that in a different time.
All right, well, congratulations. Keep us posted, okay? Do we have any questions from any council members? All right. Yes, Alderman Johnson.
Thank you. Two, one, I would love to be added as a co-sponsor if the sponsors would have me. And then two, I guess I have a question relative to the people that would be participating in this. Is this concentrated in a certain area, like 53206, or is it an application-based program?
Yes, so this is going to be spread across the city. The very rigorous guidelines will be coming out, and we will be communicating with the families that are eligible. It's solely going to be income reflective at first, and then there's other guidelines that will follow. So the goal is not to have one type of concentration, because then you never get to hit everyone. So this is more of a splash in different areas to show that it can work, and then we can just continue to replicate and expand that model. So my hope is this year we're targeting, or the first pilot year, we are targeting the 50 families, but the second year then we can either double or triple that number.
Okay, 50 families?
50 families.
So that's 50 people with $500? Okay.
For 18 months.
So I'm not going to ask at this stage of the game like who may be looking at to raise the dollars from, but I would ask, will this, or do we know from the Stockton model or any other place, does it impact people's eligibility for other benefits that they may be receiving currently?
So that is what we are working on as well, to ensure that while they are in the program, that they can remain on their subsidies.
Okay.
Yes, that was one of the hindrances for one of the other models, that it took them a while to get. There's an approval process, so we are making sure that you can remain steady, because for most people that is their sole income. So we want to make sure that they can remain at that level, and then by the time they're done with the program, that they no longer need the subsidies.
Excellent. All right, thank you.
Yeah, I was thinking a lot of low-income people use the homestead fund as a method of viability. With this amount of 18 months of funding, will this affect their taxable income?
So yes, it will be income. It will be income, but the way that that poverty level that they're at right now, it shouldn't thrust them too far out of that bracket.
Benefit. Okay. All right. Thank you. Do we have any other questions? Alderman Zielinski, and then Alderman Rainey.
Can you share with us a little bit how Stockton's municipal guaranteed income program works?
Yes. So their model is privately funded. So they raise the dollars and ensure that everyone who's on their everyone who is participating is able to get their $500 stipend via a debit card. And so our process is going to be monitored and followed by a coach. So you don't just get to spend it everywhere. It's focused on parameters, but it's not to say that I'm coming into your household and saying you need to spend it this way. You know how to spend it, but you also have a coach to help guide where you may, help massage that budget for the family.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you.
All right, excellent. Alderman Rainey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm sure it's going to be like an overwhelming amount of individuals who will be applying for
Already.
these funds.
Already?
Already.
So what will be the process? Will it be like a lottery process? Who will determine who gets selected for this opportunity?
So again, going back to the original question, there is going to be guidelines. So you have to meet that first income threshold. So once we identify the income thresholds, then we will send out, similar to the way they did it in Stockton, they sent out the invitation to apply. And then once they apply and send back their applications, and it's first come, first serve.
So in a city of like 800,000 with a high level of poverty, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people who are eligible.
Yep. Well, there are also guidelines with that, so not everyone is going to be eligible on that first round.
Hypothetically, if you get like 1,000 applications, like who are eligible, how do you figure out who those 50 families will be?
So we're going to go through the first come, first serve, and then based off of the Stockton model, not everybody that was sent an application submitted their application back, because it goes over the entire process and what they're expected to do during that time frame, and some people opted out of that the process. So there will be a process of elimination just based off of the application process, but also with the guidelines and the structure, we'll be able to see who's actually eligible and who's not. So
Because
we'll have a. Go ahead.
Because the funds are issued on a debit card, will y'all be tracking what
Yes.
they're spending their money on?
Yes. So we can show the data and not just hypothetically say, this is what we're doing, this is how we think they spent it, or what they told us. We will have actual tracking abilities.
And I'm asking you questions because this is all new to me. So if
Where were you during the budget?
I was at the budget,
That's the thing.
but made me forget my question. Right?
You said it was all new to you. You wanted to ask her a question, and the topic was eligibility.
That's not helpful.
Okay, you want to come back?
No, I'm good. I appreciate it.
All right.
Mr. Chair,
I'm like, you're done.
if Alderwoman Lewis could speak to the Stockton model, and after the first year, after they monitored the spending, what they found on the users to be
That was
spending it
helpful.
on.
I think that.
Okay.
That was more helpful.
Awesome. So after tracking the first, I think if I'm not mistaken, it was the first 6 months they tracked, and housing, food, and clothing were the top three. Then it was utilities. And if I'm not mistaken, it was medical expenses, pharmacy.
Yeah.
So they utilized those things just to live.
Right.
And have just a bare basic lifestyle. There was way down the line, there was maybe 2 or 3% that actually went out on an outing.
So that's it.
They
Has
had
it
to go
been-
they went to the movies one time.
Have they been able to demonstrate that anybody has actually, went from poverty to middle class?
So they're still in their pilot program. So it's an 18-month tracking process. So we can't say that until after that time frame is up. All we can talk about is the initial data that's been released. So.
Mr. Chairman?
Sure.
Has there been any analysis of the jobs, or if they were working jobs in the Stockton program?
I haven't seen. We've had conversations and it was all over the place. So I can get you the exact information, but for the most part, it was because theirs was focused towards low income, so it was very minimum wage jobs.
Yeah, that's what I was sort of getting at, to see what sort of link there would be between people who
Yeah.
had applied, been accepted for, and were spending their money on these basic life necessities and the wage that they were making, namely minimum wage. And then the other question I had was in terms of the model that would be implemented here. I think I already know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. They need to be residents of the city of Milwaukee, correct?
Absolutely.
And so in the event that they were to move after they got accepted into the program,
Nope.
would
That renders you ineligible, so that's a part of the guidelines as well. So,
Good. What about CBDG boundary? Is that considered as a criteria or no?
I haven't thought about that. Something we'll look
Something to
into.
think about. Okay.
Yep.
Now, you do have to have children, though, right? You can't be like a single. Can you be single?
Well, so we'll look into that. That question has come up, and I haven't said no, but we'll look and see what the data shows. If it's a whole large population that needs a little bit, we'll see.
Okay. All right. Anybody else?
Focused on
question,
families
Mr.
right
Chair.
now.
Families. That's what I'm. Yeah. Right. Okay. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so for people who are recipients of like a W-2, and then like if you earn a certain amount, you no longer qualify like for.
You missed that question. He just
I
missed
didn't.
that.
You didn't let me finish my question. So like they no longer eligible like for child care assistance
Yes.
or things
Yes.
of that nature, right? So like this is the core group of people that you're trying to target. Like how do you intend on mitigating all those potential disqualifications for other services?
Yep. So that's what I answered earlier, to making sure that the people that are participating are still eligible for their benefits so that they don't get kicked off, because childcare is a huge expense. And so that puts anybody in poverty. So we're making sure that we're working through with the secretaries and everything to make sure that they can still keep their benefits, because then the program is a moot point. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. All right. With that, Alderman Rainey moves for adoption. Hearing no objection.
Chairman,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I would object.
You would object? Okay. Alderman Donovan objects. That is 4-1.
Okay.
Hearing no, well, that's one objection. With that, it passes on a 4-1 approval. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. You guys have a great day.
All right.
Number 16, 19143.